Welcome to a very special Greg's Office Episode 2, the CMA Comparative Market Analysis for Buyers. I have a very special guest, Mr. Michael VanDam.
Hi.
And I've known Michael for about 7 years. I used to see him at all the neighborhood events. I'd see him at East Village Association meetings and community groups. And he's always very involved, knows everybody. And when I found out he had an interest in transitioning from public relations to real estate brokerage, I really wanted him on my team because my brokerage is your local West Town neighborhood experts, and Michael truly is one of those. Not only is he currently president of EVA, he also is a 10-year resident, almost 10 years I think,
Yeah.
and then also an SSA commissioner. So I really wanted him on my team.
And Greg was also East Village Association president for 2 terms, so that seemed to make a lot of sense. And again, I knew his reputation in the neighborhood and liked the idea of a smaller neighborhood boutique brokerage.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming you're going to do 2 terms, right? I mean, is this
Most likely I will
breaking news on Greg's office? Michael VanDam, 2-term EVA president. This is going to make all the headlines. New York Post will be calling.
Yeah.
But anyway, what we want to talk about today is the importance of doing a buyer side CMA. CMA stands for Comparative Market Analysis. It's when you value the property. And I think everybody knows that you're supposed to do a CMA when you sell a property, but not everybody knows that you're supposed to do a CMA when you buy a property.
Exactly. And it can be crucially important to do a CMA when you buy a property.
So it must have been about a little over 3 years ago and probably 25 deals that I referred you. Your first client was James and Jennifer.
Correct.
I think
That's
we're all Facebook friends and we see them around
Yeah.
every once in a while. And I remember it was pretty cool because on our first outing, we actually did it together and went with you. His first outing, his first client, his first showing, they actually wanted to make an offer on the property.
Yeah, they loved it. They loved it. It was a loft over at Armitage in California. Hot area. I'd actually lived in the building, so it was relatively familiar. And it would have been ideal. It would have been incredible to have my first outing, first showing result in my first sale.
I remember I was joking with him, if he gets a deal, he should just retire and be like
Yeah.
a legend of real estate, like Michael Jordan, we went and looked at, 5, 7 properties, and afterward they said that they liked it enough, they want to make an offer. So our process is we do a detailed comparative market analysis to analyze the value of the property. And we started pulling comps, and immediately it was very obvious that this property was dramatically overpriced, and we couldn't figure out what was going on.
Yeah, probably about $50,000 overpriced. Again, a hot area, but not that hot at that point.
And $50,000 overpriced, it was like a $300,000 listing, so that's like 1/6 of the value of the property.
Right.
And that being said, I like to think of myself as a salty expert that knows everything, but no one knows everything, every price point, every product, every location, neighborhood. This is West Bucktown, so you do have to take that has a dramatic impact on pricing, but it didn't jump off the page to me immediately that it was overpriced. And we were trying to figure out, was it like, a layout difference, because this was a loft building that was retrofit, you could have different, layouts. And so you were calling the agent and trying to find out about, if there's something different about this unit versus the other units.
Right. And you actually looked in a more detailed fashion into the agent's history yourself.
Well, that's one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is you can look up any agent's production, how many units they represent as a buy side, a sell side, leasing side, and this agent had only done leases. And so that's kind of a big clue that they were not really serious about selling it,
Right.
because if they were serious about selling it, why does the agent have no experience selling properties?
And the unit itself had been up for lease and leased for a good 3, 4, 5 cycles.
Right.
So it became pretty obvious that this price was just something that the owner of the unit had sort of thrown out there, which, if they could get it, it'd be awesome. They would sell the property.
And I almost guarantee the leasing agent didn't do a CMA to determine the value. But you see, the mistake that some of these brokers make is they assume that the listing price is reasonable and the listing agent did a job.
Right.
Even if we bought that property at 85%, which is way off the list price, our clients would have dramatically overpaid.
Yeah. And that's why the CMA is crucial, because you've got to look beyond just comparing the listing price. And if you do a surface comp analysis, you could probably find some comps that would justify that list price. But to actually really get into the details and start compensating and adjusting for all of the different factors that are involved with the unit, then you can get a more realistic view of what the actual value of that unit is.
Right. You have to itemize the differences. So if there's a square footage difference, if the finish is dramatically different, if one has beautiful bathrooms and one doesn't, if one is split face block and another is brick.
Right. Even location of the parking can be a factor. I mean, it all needs to be factored in.
How busy is the street? You know, like if something's on Ashland, it needs to be significantly discounted. Something's on Western, it needs to be significantly discounted. If it's on Damon, it's a busy street, but not as busy. And I really think that agents are nervous about making those judgments, but they just have to say to themselves, if I'm a buyer, how much more would I pay for that third floor, 2-bedroom, 2-bath with an elevator?
Right.
You know, or they might even pay more if it was on the 4th floor, obviously, right?
Exactly.
And I was counseled not to be too much of a nitty-gritty guy, because I'm a former accountant, and be too detailed, but we do a really detailed analysis. So here's something like in the 2000 block of Walton, where we're looking at square footage, finish, parking, location, age of the building, and the building type, because our property was split-face block, and we were comparing it to brick. So we adjust for all these things, and it makes a huge difference on the value.
Absolutely. Because again, listing price is only the asking price, and it's up to the buyer's broker to really determine what the property should be worth before you do make an offer.
Well, if we wouldn't have caught it, we would have gotten a call one day from James and Jennifer, and they would have been like, a unit closed in our building for $50,000 less than what we paid for. We think that we're in big trouble and underwater, and it would have been devastating.
Absolutely. I mean, their first purchase, it would have killed them.
I mean, that would be like losing all the potential appreciation if they stayed in the property for like 5 to 7 years. Mm-hmm. And it could have easily happened had we not done our homework.
Right. But happy ending. A week later, we saw another loft building where the place was horribly staged, dated furniture, and was sort of priced accordingly. But we were able to look beyond those sorts of factors. And when we did the CMA there, it was actually underpriced. I think because of it didn't show well. But they were able to look past it, made an offer, was accepted. They've done some upgrades, and they're still there and incredibly happy.
And wrote you killer reviews.
They were very nice.
Love you to death, rave about you to everybody. You've got a client for life, so you didn't get the home run epic story of Michael Jordan, one showing, one
Right.
closing. You did a little bit more work. You took them out a couple more times. But now you have a happy client and a client for life, and that is our entire kind of approach here at Ask Nego Realty. And I love the fact that you do such a great job with your clients and making sure that they don't overpay.
Well, and I seriously appreciate the fact that you were there for my first deal and are still there when I need a resource. So it works well.
I think that's it. Everybody have a great day, and thanks for tuning in to Greg's office.
All right.